Have you ever felt guilty for finally choosing yourself? Today I'm going to share the counterintuitive truth about why being selfish might actually be the most selfless thing you can do, and how one simple mindset shift completely transformed my life. We need to talk about something that nobody wants to admit out loud. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes protecting your peace means disappointing people. And sometimes being labeled as selfish is actually a sign that you're finally doing something right. For years, I was the person who always said yes, the one who compromised until there was nothing left of me to give. I wore my people-pleasing like a badge of honor, convinced that my worth was measured by how much I could sacrifice for others. But here's what nobody tells you about always putting everyone else first. You don't just lose yourself. You actually enable toxic behavior in others. I learned this the hard way through a relationship that nearly broke me. Picture this. Someone who only called when they needed something, who took my constant availability for granted, and who somehow always managed to make me feel like I wasn't doing enough. Sound familiar? I was the one always reaching out, always compromising, always making excuses for their behavior. When things finally ended, they wanted to stay friends. They wanted that safety net, that emotional support system, that validation that I had always provided. And you know what my first instinct was? To agree. Because saying no felt cruel. It felt selfish. It felt wrong. But then I had a moment of clarity that changed everything. I realized that their desire to keep me around wasn't about friendship. It was about convenience. They wanted the benefits of having me in their life without any of the responsibility that comes with actually caring about my well-being. So I did something that terrified me. I said no. I cut off contact completely. And yes, I felt guilty. I felt selfish. I questioned myself for weeks. But you know what else happened? For the first time in years, I could breathe. Here's the truth they don't teach you in school. Boundaries are not walls you build to keep people out. They're standards you set to let the right people in. When you stop accepting crumbs, you make room for the whole meal. The guilt you feel when you first start choosing yourself, that's not your conscience talking, that's conditioning. Society has programmed us, especially certain groups of people, to believe that our value comes from how much we sacrifice. But sacrifice without reciprocity isn't noble. It's self-destruction. I want you to understand something crucial here. When I talk about being selfish, I'm not talking about becoming manipulative or cruel. I'm not suggesting you lie, cheat, or deliberately hurt people. I'm talking about something much more radical. Treating yourself with the same kindness you show others. Think about it this way. If someone is consistently selfish with you, taking your time, energy, and emotional resources without giving anything back, and you continue to enable that behavior, what are you actually teaching them? You're teaching them that their needs matter more than yours. You're teaching them that they can treat you poorly without consequences. The moment you start matching their energy, the moment you start being equally protective of your own needs, suddenly you're the problem. Suddenly you're difficult. Suddenly you're selfish. But here's the plot twist. Their reaction to your boundaries tells you everything you need to know about their intentions. Good people will respect your boundaries. They might be disappointed, but they'll understand. Toxic people will make you feel guilty for having boundaries in the first place. They'll call you selfish because your self-respect threatens their ability to use you. This realization was life-changing for me. I stopped apologizing for prioritizing my mental health. I stopped feeling guilty for saying no to plans that drained me. I stopped explaining myself to people who had never bothered to understand me in the first place. And here's what happened next. My life got so much better. Not immediately. There was definitely an adjustment period. Some people fell away and that hurt. But the people who stayed, they were the ones who had always genuinely cared about me. The space I created by removing toxic relationships was filled by healthier connections. I started sleeping better. I had more energy. I rediscovered interests I had abandoned while trying to please everyone else. I remembered who I was before I became obsessed with who everyone else needed me to be. The beautiful irony is that by being more selfish, I actually became a better friend, partner, and person. When you take care of yourself first, you have more to give to the people who truly deserve it. When you stop spreading yourself thin trying to please everyone, You can show up more fully for the people who matter. Your needs are not negotiable. Your peace is not selfish. Your boundaries are not suggestions. And anyone who makes you feel guilty for protecting these things is showing you exactly why those boundaries are necessary. So ask yourself, what would change in your life if you stopped feeling guilty for choosing yourself? What toxic situations would you finally walk away from? What dreams would you finally pursue? The person you become when you stop apologizing for taking up space might just surprise you. And the life waiting on the other side of that guilt, it's worth fighting for. What's one boundary you need to set today?